Welcome back, guys. So I'm actually talking to you right now through exactly what I want to talk to you about, which is probably the best way to do a video. But anyway, yeah, we're talking about the Elgato Wave. Now, I've had this for quite a while, so if you watch me stream over on YouTube, or here on YouTube on SJ Gaming Live, or you watch me over on Twitch, then you'll know the Elgato Wave has been a tool in my arsenal for quite a while, well over a year, I would say. But I use the Wave 1. There is a Wave 3 as well, which has just got more advanced functions, really, just on the front of the mic. But the Wave 1 is absolutely perfect for starting out. I mean, I may upgrade to a Wave 3 at some point because I can personally see me using the Elgato Wave for a long time. And I want to talk to you about why. Why will I be using it for such a long time? There's also a couple of accessories I want to talk about when it comes to the Wave. So that's mainly the pop filter that I also use with it. And I actually use the Elgato shock mount as well, which is because I've got it on an arm. So if you've got it on an arm, you'll want it on a shock mount. So what's so amazing about this microphone? There's loads of mics that you can have on arms, on your desk, you know, all of that. What separates this from the rest of them? It's the software. So the software that it comes with is absolutely incredible. And if you're a streamer or even just a content creator making YouTube videos, this can really make your audio and the way you manage your audio that much easier. And like I say, if you're a streamer, you can control all of it on separate tracks. So you can control your teammates on Discord, you can control, you know, your music that's playing in the background, your browser, your like absolutely everything, all from the software. You can even control your mic. You can quickly mute mics, unmute mics. You might use multiple, like you might sit in one position, like maybe at your desk, and then you've got a sofa or something like that, you know, and you switch between the two, so you can quickly switch inputs and outputs on the fly. Other than that, you can hear what the quality is like. I mean, the quality overall is fantastic. I mean, I do use a pod mic most of the time when I'm doing YouTube videos just because I don't like the microphone in shot. And you could set this up to potentially not be in shot, but the sound quality is obviously a lot better the closer it is to you, because you can have the gain turned down that much more, so it's not picking up all the static noise in the background or just you clamoring around on your chair and stuff like that. Let's have a look at what you get in the box. Okay, so firstly, you're not going to get a pop filter. The pop filter, as I say, that is an addition, but you will get the microphone, of course, and you will get the stand that will go onto your desk. And of course, you'll get a USB-C cable because it's powered by USB-C. So I've currently took this off of my shock mount, how I use it in a shock mount and on an arm, just to demonstrate what it'll actually look like when you get it. So it screws in on the sides. It's adjustable backwards and forwards, and obviously, you know, how much you tighten these on the side is going to, you know, dictate what angle it stays at. It's got the mic mute button on the front, as well as obviously being able to turn it up and down. But you can also in the software change this to input, so it can be either output volume. So by output volume, I mean on the back you've got two sockets on the back. So you've got one for the USB-C to power it, and then you've got one which you can plug your earphones into. So that's so you can monitor the mix. So what you'll be able to do is quickly switch over to monitoring mode, and you'll be able to hear what your stream hears, but you can also change what you hear, which when we get into the software, that will make a lot more sense. But the dial on the front, you can have it so it either turns the gain up of the microphone to essentially make it louder, or turns up and down the volume that you can hear coming through your earphones or headphones, whatever you've got plugged in. Now, outside of that, there's not a great deal to talk about, because the majority of what we want to talk about is actually in the software. So I'm going to put this back into the shock mount and on the arm, and then we'll jump into the software. Before I do that, if I just pull the shock mount across, you can see how the shock mount would work. If you did decide you want to pick up the shock mount along with the pop filter, which is what I would recommend, then you're going to want to know how it all goes together. So if we really quickly, I'll just take all this apart again. So all it is just the two screws on the side, because I never use this mic stand. Dispose of the stand because we're not going to be using it. And then if we bring the shock mount back in, so the shock mount's attached to the arm, the shock mount will literally, the microphone sits, so it's got two holes for your screws, your existing screws that you use to the actual stand, to go through the side of the shock mount and into the microphones. Get the mic in the shock mount and positioned between the two holes on the side. Then you want to get it screwed in just loosely so it's not going to fall out. It's now positioned in, you know, it can't fall out yet. It's going to flop backwards and forwards, but that doesn't matter. As I say, if you got the pop filter to go over the top of it, which I would heavily recommend getting all three together, this slots up from underneath, and the two screws on the side hold this in place and the microphone into the shock mount. On the back of the shock mount, you've got this adapter, so you can twist that to tilt it up, backwards, forwards, whatever way you want it really. So you could have it upside down in front of you if you wanted. However you physically feel comfortable with it being, and whatever you get the best sound quality out of. Then literally just connect your USB-C cable back up, plug in your earphones or headphones, and you're good to go. All right, so now we've got it on our mount. It's all connected up. You see what you actually get and how it works, you know, as in so you can plug headphones directly into the back of it. You can control the output or the gain of the microphone from the front. You've seen the pop filter, you've seen the shock mount and how it all comes together. Now let's talk about the important bit, so the software. And I say the software is the important bit because, quite honestly, I would say the majority of people who get the Wave, they get it because they've seen the software and they know how powerful it is. So let's now have a little quick look at that, and then I'm going to tell you the one thing that I think's missing from the software and how I get around it. But if I just bring the software up so you can see it on screen. So like you can see here, so Wave 1, so this is your microphone. So if we go into this, you can see that we've got the dial function, which I was talking about, which was the dial on the front of the microphone, which I've actually got set to output, as if I've got earphones plugged in, which I actually haven't because I have all my sound running through an amp. But if you've got your earphones attached to this, then it's a great way to be able to turn it up and down directly from the microphone. I could have it set to input gain, but if I for some reason get a little bit fiddly when I've had a few beers and I'm streaming, I don't want to be messing around with the microphone gain. In the actual settings for the microphone, I've got clip guard, which you want to keep clip guard on. You've got enhanced low cut filter, and you've got wave gain lock. Then for the microphone itself, you can monitor the levels, so the levels look pretty good, but then you can also add gain. So I always have it around 40%, but then I actually don't use, as you see, if we go back, you can see that I've got both the stream mix and monitor mix both muted. So I have both of them muted because I actually run the microphone itself into Streamlabs OBS on its own input capture. And the reason I do that is so I can put a noise gate onto it. So a noise gate, for those of you who don't know, basically eliminates sort of subtle noises. You can set it to what you want. So if you imagine clicking on your keyboard, you know, you don't want to hear that. It's looking for a certain decibel rate of noise to be able to allow it to capture, basically. Now this is the function that I was saying I feel is missing from the software. If you could do this directly in the sort of the Wavelink software itself, then you would also be able to monitor the microphone. Whereas you can monitor the microphone if you're not bothered about any form of noise gate or expander. Now I am bothered. You know, I would rather just quickly record a 30-second clip, make sure that the sound's all right, you know, and then go live. Whereas it would be better to be able to know how your microphone sounds. We've all had it, you know, where you're streaming and somebody says, oh, your music's too loud, I can't hear you properly, or you're too loud, turn the music up, or whatever, you know. The fact that the beautiful thing about this software is that you can prove that to yourself. You can switch over to listening to the stream mix instead. So these two ear icons here, you've got this. So this means I'm listening currently to the monitor mix. So I'm listening to what I want to hear. But if I want to hear what the stream hears, then I can click over to this button, and now I would be hearing exactly what the stream's hearing rather than what I'm hearing. So if we run through all these channels, you'll understand. So currently we've got our microphone. I've got it muted on both. We've got game. So whatever game I'm playing, I like to hear it, you know, quite faintly in the background. You can see this is my channel. So this is what I hear. This is what the stream hears. And for this particular game that I was playing, the stream didn't need to hear the sound. So I've got it muted completely. For music, I like to have my music relatively high in mine and a little bit lower for the stream. Then you can have system sound effects you would normally have as your alert box in Streamlabs or OBS. Browser is obviously your browser. If I accidentally open something that's got copyright music on, for example, I don't want the stream to ever hear it unless, you know, without me having full control over whether they can hear it or not. So I have the browser muted by default, so I can open the browser as whenever I want, basically hear what's playing and then go, right, okay, I'll allow the stream to hear that. Voice chat, I hear louder than the stream, etc, etc. Aux 1, Aux 2, you can set to whatever you want. You know, it could be set to some sort of media player, or, you know, there's numerous things you can have that set to. So you're probably getting a gist of how this software works now. So when you want to hear something, you have the left bar, the left-hand bar of game will be what you hear, the right-hand side will be what the stream hears, or you can mute. You can also lock the ratio, fader ratio. So if I always want to listen to it at 79, they're 52, so we're saying I like to hear it a good 27% louder than they do no matter what, I can turn them both up equally. So, you know, if I've got it at 79, it will keep those two faders at the same level. So the louder I hear it, the louder they hear it, but there's still that difference between the two that stays the same. Now, monitor mix, so down the bottom here, this is what you're listening to it through. So I use a Sound Blaster amp, so I have the sound come through there and my headphones are plugged into the amp. But you could change it to headphones Elgato Wave, which now whatever, you know, comes through the headphones will be going through the jack socket on the back of the microphone here. But then any outputs you can change, you know, however many outputs you've got plugged into your computer. And then the stream mix you have to stream output, and then when you're in Streamlabs OBS, which I'll show you now, then when you're actually looking down the bottom here, you will have Wavelink Stream. So this is basically the stream mix that we was just looking at in the software itself. And this will be your primary. This is what comes through your sound. But then, like I was saying, I have the microphone on a different audio capture. So while I'm talking to you at the moment, I'm not using the Elgato software. I am using the Elgato software for everything else, but not for the microphone. I have the microphone, like you can see here, Elgato. So that's what you're actually hearing me through, because it allows me to put filters on. And the main filter that I've got on here at the moment, if we go to it, because I've only been playing about with this for the video, is just a noise gate. So I added a noise gate, so when I'm speaking, there's less chance of you hearing me breathe into the microphone or clicking around when I'm changing scenes or changing sources or anything like that. So this now means that I can use the microphone in Streamlabs and have a noise gate, but then I can use the Wave software for everything else. And the same applies if we switch back to the software, and you can see I've got it muted on both channels. But again, if I wasn't bothered about the noise gate, I can literally untick this, which I don't want to do currently because you will then start hearing me twice. But for the sake of testing, I'll currently mute what I'm using on the stream and switch to actually talking to you through the mic, through the software. So now you would hear me like this. But as I say, my issue with this is not being able to have the noise gate on. So if I start clicking around on different things, you know, you'll hear it a lot more audibly than if it was noise gated. And to be fair, that's the main thing. As I say, the main bit, other than the fact that the quality, you can hear the quality is really good. You know, there's the actual general sound quality of my voice and everything is really, really good. But you know, to be able to get the control of your stream and everything audio-wise like this, you would have to get like a Go XLR or the new PC links or whatever they're called I saw recently. It's something else on your desk that you need to fiddle around with. You know, this is just on your computer. You can have it on a separate window. Very easy to understand, very easy to set up. Overall, the Wave, it's one of those things where even if I change mic, because I have been looking at like the Shure microphone with a Go XLR and all of that. My issue with that microphone is I don't like having something this close to my mouth while I'm talking. You know, I know that's what it's for, but you know, I prefer, that's why I use a pod mic most of the time. The Rode pod mic, you can't see it at the moment, but it normally sits just out of shot of the camera, and I use that even over the Wave. Even though the Wave actually gets better, I think it's got much better quality. As you'll probably agree, if you watch one of my previous videos where I'm using the pod mic, this probably sounds better, but I still use it. Even though most of the time I'm not talking into it because I use the out of shot microphone, this is still on the mic arm either here or behind me over by the window, you know, and then I'm talking through that, but I'm still using the Wave software because I really think the Wave software is just that good. And it's great to have a microphone for if I want to do a more podcast style video, or you know, you don't see me and I'm actually just talking into a microphone. Having a mic that's got fantastic quality like this is again another great tool to my arsenal when I'm doing content. So I hope you found this useful. If you did, please like, subscribe. There's going to be lots of technology type reviews. I'm going to try to aim to do 2 to 3 videos a week, but obviously I'm always doing 3 to 4 videos a week on my other channel, as well as Save Sounds, where I'm putting music on there, or daily. So, you know, I'll try to keep to the 2 to 3 a week as a minimum. And the next one I'm doing actually is less about content creation and streaming and more about how you can turn your Xbox One S or X, if you've got either, into an emulator, which is pretty cool. So nice one. Like, subscribe, see you on the next one.